Developing now, at least one American among the innocent passengers murdered at 33,000 feet. And while the international crisis explodes, where is President Obama? Well, last night he was out fundraising in New York City. And joining us is Charles Krauthammer, author of Things That Matter. Charles, he's getting some heat for fundraising. Everyone, or not everyone, but some people. Can he multitask, or is this tin ear or something else?
Look, this is not the first time during a crisis he's been thinking about fundraisers. The night of Benghazi, the next morning he flew to Las Vegas for a fundraiser. You got to remember also, just what was it, a week ago, during the crisis on the border, he goes to Texas for a fundraiser and doesn't go to the border. And now we have a plane falling out of the sky, shot down, obviously with a Russian missile. We have a flare-up in Gaza, and he goes to a fundraiser. It isn't as if he can't multitask, but you would think a president, A, to show concern, and B, to actually work very hard to gather as much information as he can, and to think through possible strategies and alternatives, would come to the White House, get his team together, and get working right away rather than be out there at the Hamptons.
All right, he's not coming to Fox News, so we can ask him why. Because, but I'm curious, what do you think if he were seated here? If I said to him, why did you go to those fundraisers instead of dealing with this, and why did you go to the fundraisers and not go to the border? What do you think is going on in his mind about this?
I think the president would say that his role is to project calm, never panic. You know, they said it during the campaign. He's Mr. Cool. He never gets riled up. He thinks that the posture he takes, which is during a crisis, to act in a way that's, almost animatronic. The press conference he gave today about the shoot down of the plane was quite puzzling. He gave less information than his own UN ambassador had given at the UN. He was very vague. He proposed no measures whatsoever of any importance. He kept saying, there ought to be a real investigation. Well, he's a president of the strongest country on earth. Why isn't he insisting on something happening or organizing something happening? But he didn't. And he has this kind of reserved, laid back, as if the world will take care of itself. He doesn't have to intervene. That's been the theme of his foreign policy. It isn't only the substance, it's also the style.
Well, one of the things that he asked for today, and I thought it was perplexing, he called for an immediate ceasefire to allow for an international investigation. I thought to myself, has he developed sort of the international posture so that people will listen when he calls for a ceasefire? I thought to myself, who's listening to that?
Look, this is the man who said Assad has to go 3 years ago. He's the man who said if there are chemical weapons used, we will intervene. Nothing happened. He's the man who's always saying this is unacceptable, absorption of Crimea. The word unacceptable coming from the president, this president, has no meaning. Just a few days ago, he tried to get the Europeans to join him on sanctions. The Europeans said no. Why should they say yes? What is there that he has done which would either persuade them or in any way make them think they will suffer a consequence or two if they don't acquiesce? No one cares what he says, and that's what's happened to American power and influence under his presidency.
All right, let me ask you I'm going to list a group of places and issues and tell me where you think he's done the best job. The border, Iraq, Afghanistan, Russia, this plane going down, dealing with Israel and Syria. What's he done? What's his best?
Answer? Fundraising. They're all a disaster. He knows it. We know it. That's why there's such chaos in the world.
Charles, always nice to see you. Thank you. Your book's doing great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.